Or is it Naomi Campbell who's the one who's selling Kenya now?
So I think, I have my own personal issues about Naomi Campbell being,
Now, what do they want to see? Yes, they want to see animals, but they also want to see heritage. They want to see those Dingiras.
But not to forget this point on the tourism front, Big Ted, Kenya offers so much more than wildlife
animals.
safaris. What are maybe some innovative ways you've explored to promote Kenyan tourism in the US outside just seeing wild animals? And then Omosh has something to say about Tembea Kenya. But I'm going to go to you first, Big Ted, before we come to Omosh.
Thank you. One of the things that I've realized is how many animals can you see? And can you see the same animal every day and still go like, oh, wow, that's a nice lion? I think one of the things that I'm going back home with, and my message and my gospel, is we need to have value addition to our tourism. What am I talking about? If you go to South Coast, you can paraglide. You can actually parachute onto the beach in South Coast. We have the biggest yoga festival in the world happening in Lamu once a year. We have the Lamu Cultural Festival. We have the Lamu Dao Race. We have the Chalbi Desert, which is as equal with the sand dunes as Egypt and the ones in Dubai. We have Lake Turkana up there. We have Mount Kenya with Lake Ellis on top of Mount Kenya with crystal clear lake where you can get good salmon fishing. We have, as you go towards the escarpment, where one of our friends, I think I spoke to you about it, is doing a wonderful safari called Run with the Stars, where you go to actually run with all these top marathoners at the safari experience. You come down to Lake Victoria, Takawiri Islands, Mfangano, where the water is clean. And it's actually the beach is actually as better than the beaches we see here. White sandy beaches of warm, clear waters. You come down to Masai Mara and get the 8th wonder of the world, which is still right now a leading destination. 1 million wildebeest crossing every year without fail. You go down and just come here to Kambani, where they have the area where the water defies gravity. You go down to Voi, where we had the man-eaters of Savo. Can we create value addition? Can there be a museum there? Can there be this thing? But one thing which will kill me, imagine if inside Masai Mara, we made an aquarium. That you're in the Mara, but when you walk into this place, you have all the fishes of the tropical lake. So we must look at value addition. What is it that we can be able to do? We've done good with what we have, but I think we need to throw in some more. One of the other ones which I've found out to be very, very interesting is actually heritage tours. Now, the Black American community in America is very interested in Africa. And last year, I got a group of about 40 people to go to Kenya as a group in November. And this year, next month, not May, June, I'm taking about 48 people to Kenya from LA, a Black American audience. Now, what do they want to see? Yes, they want to see animals, but they also want to see heritage. They want to see those Dingiras. They want to see those Luanda Magere stones. They want to see what does their heritage look like. They want to see the villages. They want to see the people who are there. And those are some of the things that we have. We have another incoming group, which we must look for a very nice way to be able to bring them to Kenya. The 3rd generation Kenyan tourists. How do we get our kids or our kids to be able to go to Kenya and enjoy the sights and sounds of that country? So those are things which I have in my mind, and I'm going to share them with the ministries concerned. And I'm sure most of them will be picked up and they'll run around and along what's happening.
Okay. We have here KJ keeps saying yes. I think he keeps agreeing with everything that you say. But let me come back to Omosh. Tembea Kenya, while we were in Boston, was it last week or it was a week before? Tembea Kenya somewhat popped up in that event. I don't know whether they were invited or uninvited, but they somehow popped up and they got a talking slot. Like what was your view, or what impact did they have on you on that dinner with champions out in Boston?
For one, I was at this point, I guess I'd be in Ali, what did you call those people again?
Which
Ignorant?
people? Those are not my words. Those are Big Ted's words.
Wow. Yani, the whole Tembea Kenya thing, or that I guess they're the Kenya Tourist Board. Is that what they're called? Or what?
I think they're under the Kenya Tourist Board.
I was surprised. In fact, perplexed. In fact, I was like, you mean these people even exist here? Because they came up and they spoke and they said that they are the North American chapter. But when we went now to inquire or, ask questions, we found out that these guys are based out of Kenya. They sit in Kenya. They actually had come to Boston because there was an event that they were to attend which was, had something to do with the runners and all of that. And I think they were trying to push, probably, alluding to what Big Ted is saying, is like using the athletes. So it seems like that was kind of like what they were trying to do, was to, to come to this event because Boston Marathon is one of the majors, and try to use the Kenyan athletes as a springboard for basically selling tourism.
Yeah.
And part of that tourism would be you can have the opportunity to come to Kenya and train with athletes. That's kind of like what they were trying to sell. But for me, my whole thing was like, I got lost at the point where they're like, okay, I get what you're doing, but how come no one even knows you guys are around or exist? Unless the only time we hear about these jamas is when you're in Kenya, literally. Other than that, out here, we don't hear about them. We don't know anything. So I'm like, why don't we use our own people? And so the move going with the athletes is great, but we don't use our own people to sell Kenya
as cultural ambassadors.
I'm yet to see. Or is it Naomi Campbell who's the one who's selling Kenya now?
So I think, I have my own personal issues about Naomi Campbell being, a cultural, a travel ambassador for Kenya.